In this lesson, we're going to be looking at using what we know about the special pairs of angles to determine if the lines that a transversal intersect, they are parallel. So we can use the converse of those theorems that were previously introduced to prove that the lines that a transversal intersects are parallel. Given this figure, if the corresponding angles are congruent, then lines A and B are parallel. If alternate interior angles are congruent, then lines A and B are parallel. If alternate exterior angles are congruent, then lines A and B are parallel. And if consecutive interior angles are supplementary, then lines A and B are parallel. So in this example, we're given expressions for the measures of angles 2 and 6. Angles 2 and 6 are corresponding angles. And we are trying to determine the value of x such that A is parallel to B. So if the corresponding angles are congruent, then A will be parallel to B. Therefore, we want to set those two expressions equal to each other. And then we'll solve for x by subtracting 4x from both sides, and then adding 2 to both sides, and we get x equals 13. In this example, we want to solve for x such that A is parallel to B. Find the value of x that would make A parallel to B. So 4 and 6 are the two angles that we're given expressions for. 4 and 6 are consecutive interior angles. If consecutive interior angles are supplementary, then lines A and B will be parallel. So we're going to add the expressions for those two angles up and set them equal to 180. X and 3x is 4x. 50 minus 30 is 20. And then subtract 20 from both sides. 4x equals 160. Divide both sides by 4. X equals 40. Again, we want to determine the value of x that would make A parallel to B. We're given expressions for angles 2 and 7. Angles 2 and 7 are alternate exterior angles. And if alternate exterior angles are congruent, then lines A and B will be parallel. So we want to set those two expressions equal to each other. Solve for x by subtracting 5x from both sides. And then we're going to add 8 to both sides. And then lastly, divide both sides by 5. And we get x equals 7. And in this last example, we want to again determine the value of x that would make A parallel to B. 4 and 5 are alternate interior angles. And if alternate interior angles are congruent, then A will be parallel to B. So we're going to set those two expressions equal to each other and solve for x by subtracting 12x from both sides. And then we're going to subtract 17 from both sides. And then lastly, divide both sides by 10. And x equals 2.